The deputy chairperson of the African Union says the AU is pleased with the aid assistance of the international community and efforts of its own members to combat the drought and famine engulfing East Africa. The AU is planning to hold a summit on the crisis on August 10th. Meanwhile, tons of food is arriving in Somalia daily by plane, but aid agency workers say that the logistics of this effort are complicated and difficult. VOA's Philip Alexiou has more.
Somalia and the Horn of Africa are facing what has been called the worst famine situation in 60 years. Relief agencies say the situation is made worse by the continuing conflict in Somalia between al-Shabaab rebels and the transitional federal government in Mogadishu. The World Food Program is among groups that are mobilizing aid to the region, but WFP spokesperson Renee McGuffin says the crisis and its challenges are enormous.
Somalia is perhaps one of the most difficult and perhaps riskiest countries to work in. And when we face an emergency like this, all operational options are on the table. Those can include going in by boat, going in by road, and going in by air. There are situations where we've used everything from camels to elephants to move food, and we'll look at what other options we have to try and reach those people who so desperately need our assistance.
McGuffin says that refugees and the malnourished receive specialized emergency foods.
They can get a combination of things. High-energy biscuits, which is an emergency food supply. They're fortified with nutrition, vitamins, and minerals. That is something that you can easily eat, just right there while you're waiting to collect the food. In addition, they would get cereals, usually maize or corn or wheat, and then they also would get some sort of pulses or beans, legumes, as well as fortified oil and iodized salt. Usually makes up the combination, along with a highly fortified, nutritious sort of cereal called corn soya blend, which can be made into a porridge.
The United States Agency for International Development is one of the largest providers of emergency assistance in the Horn of Africa. USAID Administrator John Browse says many thousands of people in different parts of the transportation chain are working to get relief supplies to the area.
I'm including from the stevedores who loaded on the ship, say in the United States, to the crewmen on the ship, to the port workers in Mombasa, and then the truck drivers, and then the NGO workers, the youth workers, the local partners who are there and involved. Yeah, you're talking about thousands of people involved in this endeavor.
Aid agencies are also working to come together to provide emergency relief to drought-ravaged East Africa. Interaction is a large alliance of non-governmental organizations. Sam Worthington is president and CEO.
The challenge is the coordination in what is known as the cluster system, a coordination approach that allows detailed conversations on who is doing what where, what are the needs, and how to meet those needs as quickly as possible.
The largest refugee camp in the world is Dadaab, Kenya, where Worthington says there are hundreds of thousands of people, with thousands more arriving every day.
The challenge we're seeing is that those camps are now being overwhelmed by new arrivals coming across the border from Somalia, so that the whole pipeline of infrastructure that is enabling the food to arrive needs to be ramped up. The number of flights per day needs to increase significantly. The access and the trucks, the primary access by trucks to get food in, will also need to increase.
Aid officials are especially concerned about the high malnutrition rates in the Somali refugee population.
There's been droughts before, but the severity of this drought, with the failure of the last 2 rainy seasons, combined with high food prices, and then again in southern Somalia, combined with lack of access and lack of a government, have just created an unbelievable impact on the people of southern Somalia. And so those 4 issues combined have really led to the devastation we see today.
UN officials are asking for another $1 billion for the relief effort in the Horn of Africa. I'm Philip Alexiou, VOA News.